And one man who knows what it's like to verbally spar with Ali is TV royalty Sir Michael Parkinson, who joins us now. Sir Michael, thank you for coming on. It's great to have you on Sky Sports News HQ. It's just obviously a shame about the circumstances. Just tell us about the first time that you met the great Muhammad Ali.
I never knew of him, of course. It was 1970, and he walked across the studio floor toward me. He walked straight from the car across into the BBC and straight into the studio. That was his way. And first of all, I was struck by the grace of him, of course, the elegance of his movement and the size of him. But then I was obsessed by his hands. He had the longest fingers of any boxer I've ever seen, that's for sure. They belonged to a concert pianist and not a pugilist. And then when he talked, he was just stardust. I mean, he was wonderful. I was very lucky. He was the most extraordinary man I ever met in all the people that I've met, and there've been one or two.
Wow, you've met so many people, as you've said, on your show. Why was he one of your favourites, if not, well, you've just said your favourite?
Well, it's difficult to think of another person who was his equal in a sense. I mean, he had this wonderful ability to talk. He didn't always talk sense, but that didn't matter either. He could be funny, he could be angry, he could be all the things that... When he came onto a show, he didn't have any reservations about behaviour, about what he should or should not say, how he should behave or not. So what you got was a kind of a raw deal with him. I mean, that was it. He could explode, he could be aggressive, he could be nasty, he could be funny, hilarious, all those things. It was a package you could not predict. And what I found also, too, was that, you know, you have to do research, as you know, when you interview anybody. And I used to do a lot of research into him. You could throw it away. Because when he came in the studio with you, it was on his terms, and he would dictate how the mood went of that interview. And he never let you down. I mean, at times I would go home and think, was that any good at all? And then you get the audience reaction. You know, they adored him. In England particularly, they loved him. In America, he divided the nation because of his views, outspoken views on race and things like that. Here in England, we loved him unconditionally, and he responded to that too. He loved being here. And the nicest thing I think that's ever happened to me in television was that when he came over, he didn't come over, his family came over with the Ali exhibition in London, was it earlier this year. We had a call from them saying that what Muhammad Ali did nowadays, whenever he could, was he went to YouTube and he called up the Parkinson interviewers with him and would sit there laughing and joking and saying, oh, I watched it, I get him here, and all that sort of thing. And they wanted to know if we could do a compilation for them of all the shows and put it onto disc so that he didn't have to bother with YouTube. And I love that I don't know, that possibility that he did, it was sort of sitting there enjoying the show, looking back on those times, which defined my career in many ways.
And he was on your show 4 times, like you've said. I mean, going back to the first time, were you surprised at just how intelligent he was?
No, that didn't surprise me. I mean, I'd seen him and heard him. I'd seen him teasing Howard Cosell, the American TV sports journalist. No, that didn't surprise me. It just, when you sit down with, there are odd people, there's some people, very few, who have about them a kind of charisma, personality, whatever it might be, which transmits itself through the lens into the home or across a floor into an audience. And he had that, and it was palpable. You could feel it. You could feel the audience reacting to it. So you were sitting with a guy who was box office. That's what he was. He could sell tickets better than anybody else I've ever met. He could sell himself better than anybody else I've ever met. And he couldn't stop talking. And he was critical. He was a mixture, cocktail of emotions, and it was never an easy ride with him. But my word, it was a fantastic experience.
He suffered from Parkinson's disease for a number of years, a lot of years. How sad was it to see him deteriorate once that happened?
Well, we were actually, I was going to say lucky, and that's the wrong thing altogether. On the show he did in 1980, which was the 4th show that he did in the 10-year period we had him, he revealed the first time the effects of the illness, which was to envelop him and then kill him. His speech was different. His eyes didn't shine like they used to. His neck had thickened. He shuffled a wee bit. And we talked about the possibility of the damage done to the brain in boxing. He denied, as every boxer does, and will till the end of time, that this is a possibility with him. Could happen to other people, but not him. And of course it did. And looking at him, I remember thinking, I hope to God it doesn't happen, but if it does, and even if it doesn't, I had the feeling that I wouldn't interview him again. And so it proved to be.
It's very sad indeed. I'm going to ask you one more question, if you don't mind, Sir Michael. We've heard a lot about his boxing legacy, but what about a sportsman away from the ring, on camera, as now a TV personality, which he became throughout his career? Do you think he's actually given sports people, kind of said to them, shown them, sorry, you know, you have to be something outside of the ring as well. You have to have this personality, and he's done that so many times on your show?
I think that anybody who tried to copy him, and one or two have, will only make an ass of themselves. There's only one Muhammad Ali, always will be, forever and a day. So don't try to copy him, just watch him and learn from him.
So, Michael, we really appreciate your time on this sad day. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.